week over the weekend. We had back together weekend. It was awesome to see the Denver Broncos taking center stage for a specific period of time. And Patrick Surtain, one of the highlights of that team's defense. We had an opportunity, Steve Weiss and Cynthia Freeland, to catch up with the defensive star.
All right, Patrick, you guys just wrapped up your second day of real training camp activities. Where have you seen this defense kind of, I won't say evolve, but kind of develop at this point in training camp?
Yeah, obviously, we're going through the first phase of training camp, and honestly, it's just, setting the groundwork, setting the foundation, guys getting acclimated, being in shape, getting conditioned, going into the playbook, lots of studying. But, when we come on the field, it's a lot of competitive periods to get ourselves better. Offense looking good, defense looking good. So it's really ironing, sharpening, ironing at the end of the day. So I love these battles. It's good battles out there. So.
Talk about the good battles out there. There's so much continuity on this team. How has that kind of changed from previous training camps, having so many returning starters at least?
It honestly feels good. Everybody in the right spots. We got the right pieces together. A lot of experience, a lot of great vets on the team. I'm starting to become a vet year 6. That's crazy to say, but yeah, we starting to come together. A lot of camaraderie built within this unit and this team, and it shows out there on the field, on the practice. We know we're trying to get better on the field, but we also smart about it as well too. So. We know we got a big season ahead of us, but I'm looking forward to the season with the guys.
So to dovetail competitive battles and to break the continuity, someone well, Jalen Waddle is a new face on this offense. You guys have had competitive battles for a long time, but what does he bring and what is he doing to sharpen your blade, so to speak?
Yeah, it's great. Going against him every day, good on good. He's just gonna make the whole team better. He's a weapon. Down the field, could run every route in the route tree, fast, explosive, and he's looking good out there. Everybody's getting along. He's familiar with the offense. Him and Bo been dialed in, sharpening in ever since training camp started. So he's looking good out there, and it's gonna make me better, and it's gonna make him better as well too.
Well, talking about, two halves of something, making each other better, you recently got engaged. Congratulations.
Yeah, congrats.
This is a pretty big year for you. Some contract changes, upgrades, and now an engagement. Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, it's very eventful for sure. But, it was a great feeling going into it. I was a little nervous. Probably nervous I may ever been. Yeah, probably nervous I may ever been, for real. Getting on that knee, asking her to marry me, that was quite the ordeal, but it's great, man. Love is in the air, I guess.
Congratulations.
Yeah.
Okay, so now I've got to pivot back to football real quick, because a lot of the conversation that you guys have been having, getting more turnovers. Last year the defense was great in just about every area except in that regard. What are some of the things being emphasized?
Emphasize getting turnovers, but it's all about guys staying in the right position. Flying around to the ball. Whether it's punching the ball out, when the ball's in the air, capitalizing on those opportunities. My dog Huff right there. But we always, focus on being intentional when the ball's in the air. Everybody say 50-50 ball, but, we like to say, 80-20, when the ball's in the air. We always want the ball to be in our favor. That's the mindset every time. So, we just going out there, just feeling like, just making plays is a top priority for us right now. And, we're working on that.
So you talked about, being a veteran now, 6th year in the league. You're so old, by the way. Jahdae Barron has been a guy who last year was obviously very highly drafted, and now year 2. So what kind of things going forward can we expect from him?
Expect great things. This year 2, under Coach Van's system, he's playing everywhere from dime, corner to nickel. So he's got a lot on his plate, and he's handled it, very well. So, this is going to be a breakout year for him for sure. I'm looking forward to, his year, his journey, and everything. He's very sharp. Understand the defense. He's very competitive out there. So, the sky's the limit for them.
All right, well, that'll only add to a really good defense, but congratulations again on the engagement. We'll see what your celebration will be. You get a pick, take it to the end zone, get on a knee. We'll see. But thanks so much and good luck this season.
I appreciate it.
Center stage, we're going to watch their practice. Patriots will also be one of those teams that we're going to be paying attention to. By the way, some inclement weather in the New England area, so we'll get an opportunity, though, to see this team practicing indoors. Scary Terry is going to be one of the interviews that we'll get today. A.J. Brown, by the way, the new digs with that Patriots.
Oh, are we hearing from AJ today, too?
Oh, you know it.
Oh, my goodness. Can't wait to hear that interview.
Not only that interview, but also an opportunity to hear probably some memorable moments, because he usually is pretty good for a quote or two. It is a tradition like no other. When Steve Wyche is in Baltimore, there's usually a phone call, and I ask him, like, hey, what did you see from this team? Steve Wyche and Rappaport with us right now. Ian, good to see you, because I know you've been busy as well. But, Steve, let's start off here with a team that's trying to get back into the postseason, locked and loaded every single year, got a brand new coach. But tell me, what's that storyline you're tracking?
Well, brand new coach and a brand new coaching staff, Ian. Those are a lot of moving parts right here. So let's start out with Lamar Jackson, who's going to be under Declan Doyle, a first-time play caller coming over from the Chicago Bears, kind of came up through the Sean Payton, Ben Johnson tree, and how he's going to work in this new scheme. It is new language. It's a lot of new stuff going on, but that's created kind of an energy as well.
Sure has.
But besides Lamar, though, I want to look at the pieces around him. He's got two new guards, a new center, and they're also trying to figure out on the perimeter who's going to catch balls from him other than Zay Flowers. Yeah. So those are some things that they've got to figure out here in training camp.
Yeah, so many interesting things we're going to see here today. Obviously, seeing them in pads for the first time going to be fascinating with this new head coach. I mean, this division has been black and blue division for years and years. Now you have Jesse Minter, spent some time on the West Coast, obviously, but sort of back to his roots here in Baltimore. Going to be extremely fun to see that. And I would also say, obviously, there's a lot to like with Lamar, a lot to like with Declan Doyle, the new offensive coordinator. But we are going to see now Jesse Minter's fingerprints on this really, really talented defense. I think it's safe to say, probably the last couple of years, defense did not quite live up to the talent that is on the roster. We are going to see one of the game's real technicians here, not just as a head coach, but as a coordinator working with Anthony Weaver. A lot to like about this Baltimore team here, guys.
And real quick, Ian, you talk about this defense, guys. They only had 30 sacks last year. That was third worst in the NFL. Nnamdi Madubuike, remember him, the all-pro defensive tackle whose career was in jeopardy after a neck injury last year. He's been medically cleared. He's going to be in pads for the first time today. I think this is a significant storyline because if he can return to the form he used to have when Anthony Weaver was his D-line coach, that is a huge boon for this Ravens defense.
Steve, you're absolutely right. The line of scrimmage wasn't right, especially on the defensive side of the football for the Baltimore Ravens in 2025. They got to get that part of their game right if they want to be the championship team that I know this team wants to be. But while you guys are out there, I definitely want you guys to check out the command Lamar has over the team while practice is happening. All franchise quarterbacks, man, they run the show at practice. And we all know the storylines out there this offseason that, Coach Harbaugh's message had got old and, players kind of wanted a new voice. So I really want to see how Lamar handles practice, how his command is at practice. And, Steve, to your point, how he integrates into this Declan Doyle offense. I would expect them to be a little bit more under center. I would expect them to also use Lamar's legs because, to me, guys, you're not a smart offensive coordinator if you're going to come in and not use Lamar's legs because he's such a vital part when he's running the football and it forces 11-on-11 offense and defense when your quarterback is exciting and a run threat like Lamar Jackson is.
And Mike, I want to get to that. And this is something I think is we in the media kind of throw it out there a little bit. I want people to understand that's the quarterback going under center. We say that, but you played the position in college. That is new footwork. That is new reads. That is a new level of things that you have to do from under center that you weren't doing in shotgun or the pistol. Take us to what that is like, some of the things that Lamar has to do, especially when they're stretching the ball on these runs on the edges.
Yeah, well, first of all, when you're under center, you get a lot more of an effect on the defense. when the quarterback reaches that football out, when Lamar reaches that football out to kind of stretch and try to chase the running back so that he can get the outside zone, that pulls the defense, that pulls linebackers to a certain side, and so it opens up different holes behind the second level of the defense when you want to do play action pass. Also, Lamar's a guy, again, when you're in the shotgun, you're always looking forward at the defense. A lot of times you never take your eyes off the defense. When you go under center and you do some play action pass, sometimes you got to put your back to the defense, and then the defense presents itself differently to you when you see the defense again. So those are just some of the nuances when you go under center or when you're in shotgun, how the picture changes for the quarterback.
Yeah, just one of those wrinkles to the offense that we'll be tracking, an opportunity to see this team on the practice field right behind Steve and Ian coming up in just a bit here on NFL Network. Guys, appreciate your insight. You're not done. We will talk to you coming up in just a bit. Once again, 11 a.m. Eastern Time.